Hello and welcome guys, and in this tutorial video we're going to be looking at the Hack the Box machine called Giddy. Very interesting box, very tricky as well, so let's just have a look. So first things first is to run an nmap scan, and the IP address of Giddy is 10.10.10.104. Okay, so I've already done this and I called it scan, and if we have HTTP running on HTTP service, Microsoft IIS running on port 80, SSL, um, Microsoft IIS as well running on port 443, and then we have um, Microsoft Terminal Services 3389, which um, serves as a sort of remote desktop running on port 3389. So first things first, we have a look at the web application. So we can go 10.10.10.10.104. All we have is just a basic web page. View source, nothing special. You go to the HTTP version of it, HTTPS, sorry, and we just have IIS as well of the same page. So what I did in this initial enumeration was to just run GoBuster. So do GoBuster, go supply the URL, which is this, and then supply the word list. Here's our share word list. If I could spell Buster, and then gave it the medium word list. Word list not specified. Why? Yep, I think I did. It's saying word list not specified. Let's have a look where we're wrong. Right, okay, so there shouldn't be a space in there. And there we go. So after enumeration, depends on how long this is going to take, I found two ports. One was called, or two directories, or two pages rather. One was called remote, which offers us Windows partial web access. And another one was called MVC. So Windows Partial Web Access is just a kind of web terminal that allows you to be able to execute PowerShell command line or access the PowerShell command line through a web GUI. In this instance, this other page appears to be some sort of web application where user is required to log in. But however, you could actually access some of the products on the product name list. So typically my thought was probably this might be vulnerable to SQL injection. So putting an apostrophe there and clicking enter, we get a server error stating some sort of SQL exception. So this is an indication that this web application is vulnerable to SQL injection. And if you have a web service running ASP, which is Microsoft Web Server that we have here, my ASP.NET application, the likelihood, or most cases, that application will be running Microsoft SQL Server. So let's go back to our enumeration. You can see remote has been found, which is one of the ones I mentioned. So we'll just leave that, and the other one should pop up any minute. So what I did next was to do a lot of Googling, and I came across Microsoft SQL Server NTLM Stealer, which is a sort of SQL injection that allows you to be able to steal NTLM credentials. There are actually some very good videos. I think this one by Scott Sunderland is actually a very good one in order to see how it works. So I just try that in. So we need two things here. First, we need so I'm just going to start Metasploit, MSF console in quiet mode. So I'm just going to end this now. CD Giddy and start another MSF console here. So the idea is, if you have a look at what Rapid7 has to document here, it talks about this module can be used to help capture or relay NTLM credentials of an account running remote SQL server service. So what has to happen is you also have to then enable an SMB capture relay. So you have to have an SMB server running on your configured on your attacker machine, and then you have to send a query to the vulnerable SQL service, which tries to then connect to the SMB server by sending its NTLM credentials across the network. So what happens is the module allows you to be able to capture that NTLM credentials and hopefully be able to crack that NTLM credentials using John the Ripper. So we can just do a search for NTLM Stealer. That's the module we need here. Let's copy that. So use that. Okay, have a look at the options. So required to set the hard host, the SMB proxy, and then the path. So those are the things we need to set. On the other hand here, we need to just search for SMB/capture, I think. No. Okay, let's do a quick Google search. SMB capture. Yeah, so that's the module we need. So say use options. Okay. So here we need to set the parameter for our server. So I could just do if config on 0, get the IP address, and just set srv host to that IP address. Then we need to send the file that we want the prefix for the local file name to store the hashes in John format. So the next thing to do is to set this. I'm just going to save this in my directory called Giddy /hashes txt. That should be fine. And we just run that. Okay, so the service started in the background, and over here we need to set our host, give it the IP address of Giddy, set our XMB proxy server, which is 10.10.14.112. Get path, so set get path. And then we give it the path for the vulnerable SQL server. Just copy from here. So put a colon there, and I think SQL, just like you have here, SQLi, another colon and dash dash. I think that's it. What else? Set hard host. Yeah, so that should be the case. So over here, I'm just going to make this smaller, always on top, so we can actually see when it captures the credentials, and just click on exploit here and see what happens. There we go. The hashes have been captured, as we can see. We call hashes here, and if we go into the directory, okay, so we go to a list, we got the hashes captured here. I use the cat command to have a look at it. There we go. So I have a user called Stacy and some NTL and the NTLM hash. So what we need to do is try to use John to crack this. So we could just do list John dash dash word list equals USR share word list. I think that should be it. RockU txt. Let's have a look at where RockU is. Locate RockU txt. Yeah, so I'm right with that one. And then we give John the password hash to work with. And then we have to specify the format. So format equals, not quite sure. Let's have a look at John format. John NTLM format, hash format. Nope. Let's have a look here. F10 to find NTLM version 2. There we go. So that's the format we need. Hopefully. And let's see what happens. I actually hate brute forcing password when I'm doing a recording because it slows down the machine. Sometimes the machine can become unresponsive, but here we are. That was quick. Got the password hashes. So we can just do credentials, paste that in, and that's the credentials we need to log in. Okay, so we've got the credentials. So the next thing on the list is to try to log in through the PowerShell web. So we do, name of the machine is Giddy/Stacy. Paste the password. Copy that here. I think we're going to exit all of this now. Exit that as well. paste the password in, computer name, give it Giddy, try to log in. There we go. We have a shell on the box. If we do a dir submit, we could see we have access to the machine. If we do a cd, go back and cd desktop, dir, we have the user flag. So that's the user flag there. But as to prevesc, cd documents, originally dir cd documents. Originally, I think maybe someone is working on this box, but originally this was the only file that I found when doing this box. I got some help from guys on the platform. However, so what needed to happen was just do a Google search on this file name, and it happens there's an exploit for this application here, Unify Video. So there's a local privilege escalation, and here it talks about it's exploiting this weak service. So here it talks about Ubiquiti Unified Video for Windows is installed in this directory. By default, it's also shipped with a service called this. And if you try to enumerate using the access control command, you can actually see that in the directory where you have this service running, every single user, even low privilege users, have access to files. So you can create a file in there. So the exploit requires you to create a file called taxkill.exe. And when you try to stop and start the service, it will find this file in order to kill the service and then execute this malicious file. And then the user automatically, then that exploit gets executed. So what we try to do here is to write a piece of malicious code, an exe file, which allows us to add the user Stacy to the administrative group. So let's have a look at how this will work. So if we have to do a net user Stacy, you can see the user Stacy is just in the local admin group, remote admin use, not in the admin group. And if we do net user administrators or net local group, administrators, we can see we only have administrators as current members is just administrators, so Stacy is not. So what we can do is we can write a script that will name taxkill and then try to stop and start the service in order to add Stacy to the admin group. So what we need to do here is to go into this directory. So I'm just going to change directory, cd here, paste that in. If we do a dir, we have the service is running. So we need to create a malicious file called taxkill.exe. So here we could do nano so we could write a quick binary. So we could do nano add.c, or send that, write a C++ file and write the code in. So we could have include windows.h there, and we have int main so execute system net local group administrators Stacy /add. I think that should work. Return 0, and that should do it. So we could try to compile this file. So we just have to do using the MingW compiler. So I could go for x86 underscore 64 dash MingW 32 using the static flag, and I'll put the file as taxkill.exe. That'll be the output file, and then the file itself is add.c++, isn't it? Okay, so I think everything looks good. Says command not found. Right, so let's try to find, locate MingWG++ here. It's a lot of scripts. Let's go to the top, see what we could come up with. So this is the one we're looking for, this one here. Okay, let's change that and see why. Probably it was a typo error somewhere. Paste that in. Yep, that appears to be successful. So do a list. We got our tax.exe file. So this is the file we need to upload here. So we do a dir, and then we need to just do this. So I think, let me see if I could pull down the Giddy cat commands.txt, I think. Yeah, so I'll use this invoke. So I'm just going to copy this command in order to use it real quick. So basically, we're going to use invoke web request. So I'm just going to change my IP address here. 112 taxkill. Output the file as this. This is the command I'm going to use to pull down the file here. So paste that in here and submit. Right, so he's not going to be able to pull it successfully because I need to have my Python simple HTTP server running. Put 80 running there, and then we could do that again. Right, submit. Invalid command. 44. Why is that? Ah, right. Okay, I get it now. So I spelled taxkill wrongly. So we have tax. So it has to do a double K. Taxkill.exe to task double K eel.exe. Okay, start the server again. Go back in here, and this should be fine now. Yeah. File successfully downloaded. If you have a dir, we could see our malicious file here. So just to confirm one more time, net user Stacy. You can see Stacy is not in the admin group. So all we need to do is then, according to the exploit, is to stop this service called Ubiquity Unified the video. So go back in here and just do service dash stop name, give it the name of the service. Did I copy all of that with the, yeah, so I don't need to put that back in. Paste that in here, submit. Right, so it should be a thing stop service dash name. So it's trying to stop the service, and if we do net user Stacy, hopefully, fingers crossed, we are in the admin group. So that worked. So we are part of the administrators group. So if we do cd c, so let's just cd dash dash slash dash dash dir cd users dir cd administrator. We should be able to get into the administrator. Dir. However, it's giving an access denied. So what I did here was to save this. Okay, exit. Save, exit. Yeah, so sign in again as the user Stacy. So we do Giddy / Stacy and then the password. Do we have the password anywhere here? Stop the server now. Cat credentials, was it? List cat credentials. Copy that. Go back in here, paste it in. Machine is Giddy. Sign in. Okay, and then we create a new session. So let's confirm net user Stacy is still admin. Submit. We're still administrator, and then we could do dir administrator cd add dir cd desktop. This time around we shouldn't get an error. If we do a dir, we have the root flag, and that is the box. So I hope you guys enjoy that. I think I've come across this before, this sort of unquoted service part privilege escalation. I think I have one of this in my videos about using a different service, which was the SCSI access in a different application in order to elevate privilege. So this is quite similar to this. However, I think the most part, I think getting user using this NTLM stealer, I don't think, if you haven't come across this sort of attack before, you might find it quite challenging. So hope you enjoy that, and I shall see you next time. Cheers guys, bye.